On the subject of the young male vote, okay, I'd love to get your thoughts on all of this, but I do want to get this in. That's why Trump's doing all this independent media. Theo Vaughn and Sean Ryan, who I love. Sean Ryan's amazing. I don't know Theo, but he's very popular. He sat down with Theo Vaughn, and what's great about these interviews is honestly, with all due respect to us news folks, it's great to hear him talk with somebody who's not in news, who will ask him totally different questions and get different stuff out of him. And that's what Theo Vaughn did. And they got into, in some detail, the death of Trump's brother, Fred, from alcoholism. Take a listen to this.
Did you see, like, with your brother, could you see it or anything? Like,
yeah.
Man.
I was amazed because he had so much going, he had everything going. I think it happened in college at a fraternity maybe, or I don't know, somewhere along the line it happened. And all of a sudden, this is not unique. This is a very common story, unfortunately. But and then the family would see it and start to notice it. And it didn't get better. It didn't get better. I was amazed. He lived for so long in bad conditions, in terms of, I was amazed that his body could hold out. It held out and it had bad moments. But his body was unbelievably strong that it could withstand this.
Yeah, it's a body. Your body's just so resilient.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time that you saw him or spent with him?
I do, and
I'm sorry to ask you about it. Is it all right?
No, it's the reason it's good talking about it is it might help other people. If it helps one other person, it's worth the conversation. He was wise in a sense. I mean, think of it. He's got this problem, and it was very important for him to convey to me not to have this problem. And I couldn't have been successful if I had that problem.
Yeah.
If I had that problem, and I think maybe I'm a personality type where I could have had the problem if I drank. But if you don't drink, you're never going to have it.
Hey, Victor, just a quick thought on that. This is classic Trump.
I mean,
anybody he likes, loves, or has, any positive thoughts towards, he will find a way to say something nice about them. Look at this. This is his brother who died of alcoholism. And he points out, I'm amazed at how strong his body was that it could hold out. That's Trump. That's classic Trump, trying to find like a way to compliment his brother who was riddled with this disease. He talks about how he was wise because he conveyed to me, don't do it. And he's the reason I never took a drink. I haven't had a drink or a cigarette in my whole life. And it's easy to avoid it when you don't do it at all. He goes on in that interview to talk about what an amazing pilot his brother was and how other pilots would come and learn from him. It's just classic Trump where as long as you're not out there attacking him, his general instinct is to build you up, not tear you down. But what do you make of his media strategy right now?
It's very good. And the key takeaway line was when I mentioned that earlier, when he's self-deprecating, he said, I might have been prone to that. And he said that before when in a press conference, when his brother died, someone asked him, as I remember, and did you ever drink? And he said, can you imagine me drinking? In other words, I have that same excessive personality that would lend itself vulnerable to alcohol. And that's what he was saying again. And when he does that, he comes across as very human. And the more that he can do that, the better. And the funny thing about it is when they keep saying he's going to destroy democracy and he's going to do this, and when you look at all the people that he hired and he fired, he didn't even get vindictive about it. I mean, Steve Bannon, he fired him. Steve Bannon gave a terrible interview about him. Steve Bannon is, I guess, still friends with him. He fired H.R. McMaster, and H.R.'s got a memoir, but he hasn't been critical of H.R. And he didn't weaponize the FBI. He didn't weaponize the DOJ. He didn't weaponize the CIA. He didn't weaponize the Director of National Intelligence. They did all that. And that's what's so strange about it, is that if you look at how Biden and Obama have, the whole Steele dossier did not start with Donald Trump. It started with Barack Obama when he weaponized the DOJ, and he knew about it. And yet, my gosh, it's just a complete reversal of reality. And that's the thing about Trump, is that he talks a great game about being angry and mean, but when it comes down to it, and you actually calibrate, was he vindictive? Did he go out and try to destroy somebody's career? Did he try to use that? And, they impeached him over that he said that the Bidens were corrupt and he wanted to suspend for a while until they got the corruption cleared up. And that might have been unconventional, but it wasn't quite like Joe Biden telling Israel, we have 3,500 bombs that have been congressionally approved and you're in an existential war at this moment, and we're not going to give it to you unless you are more conducive to our point of view, because we have to win this election and we have to appease 250,000 voters in Michigan. Therefore, that's going to affect my election, and therefore my election is going to affect congressionally approved offensive weapons that you need. And nobody thought about impeaching Joe Biden. So he didn't, he suffers from this reputation of the media, and also that he's very vocal sometimes. But when you actually look at him, that's more Donald Trump than the other Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very smart. And he's reaching out to these young men who have just been the butt of so much vitriol, nastiness, condemnation based on nothing other than gender and race by the left. And good for him for going out there and saying, you matter to me. I am here asking for your vote. Your vote's important. I mean, the Democrats better watch it, because this RFKJ thing, this new line of argument, and this media strategy looks very smart. This is somebody over there is thinking. Did you know that there is nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds yet to be spent? That's right. There's a massive amount of money that the lame duck administration is pushing hard to spend in their last few months. If the president is able to push these funds out, we could see another prolonged inflation surge. And I'm sure you remember the terrible effects that the first one had on many, many Americans. Still having on many, many Americans. But there's hope. A surge in prices can be beaten. You see, a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge for your savings in uncertain times. To see how to protect your IRA or 401k, get your free info kit on gold by texting MK to 989898. Birch Gold makes it seamless to roll over your retirement account while preserving your tax-advantaged status. Don't wait for the president's spending spree to tank the dollar further. Protect your financial future right now. Text MK to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.